Hi everyone, this is Sabrina. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a special Traci Reed video because the creative team, including myself, is having a YouTube hop to share all the projects for All Is Calm and All Is Bright, Traci's amazing new collection for all your December documenting. As you can see, I had a huge pile of photos and die cuts and some papers. What I'm gonna make is 2 weekly spreads for my project life in 2020. I have said this many times on other 2020 Project Life videos. I'm determined to finish this Project Life. It's going very slow, but I will get there. And this collection really inspired me to start documenting December of 2020 since I hadn't. I'm starting with week 49, and when I pulled the photos to make this weekly spread, I wound up with photos that are pretty much all red. So I thought that it would be fun to do a monochromatic weekly spread. And I'll also include a traveler's notebook insert for some extra photos and also the journaling. So over on the left-hand side, I have a favorite movie, my daughter jumping in the leaves, and then a journaling card. And I shrunk everything down to 2.75 inches by 3.75 inches. So I just wanted to make things a little bit smaller so that way everything, has room to kind of breathe on the spread. I picked the card Family Tradition so that way I can kind of make a bullet point list of some of the traditions that have showed up during this first week because there was a lot. We do have a lot of traditions or things that we tend to do every December. So I wanted to just make a little list of those. I took a piece of paper and folded it in half and then I adhered it down to the middle of my spread, not quite realizing that this is going to make it kind of hard to attach when I go to attach it. You'll see. I basically glue the 2 pieces together, the front journaling piece and then the back is a red cardstock. I'm going to do that right now. And I'm not going to realize that I'm going to need to kind of open up the sandwich that I've made of papers. So that way it will attach to the white strip of paper. I didn't realize that until I go to add it to the white strip. So whoops, but in the end I get it to work. I added a pink piece of paper so that way I can add some photos right on top and it's a good photo mat. Now I'm going to start my journaling, and I have to say I am so mad at myself because I lost the pen that works very well for writing on matte paper. What I have now is a Sharpie. I think it's my Sharpie. Yeah, it's my favorite pen. It's a Sharpie, but it does not write on matte at all. It like scrapes and it's almost like hurting your teeth, which is not fun. So I documented, I think, a total of 5 stories on here, and one of the stories was about my son making a fun project when he was at a mom's house for distance learning. This was the time of distance learning. It's that cute little reindeer that you can see. It was a wine cork reindeer, and he came home and he had made that, and it has a scarf around it, and I almost died. It is so cute, and we get it out now every year. This will be the 2nd year, and we named it Norbert, which is a perfect name. So it was an amazing craft that I just love. And I also mentioned that I'm just thankful for the 2 moms, and of course myself, for trucking along with this whole distance learning. Now, some family traditions. I talked about how we've already started watching holiday movies. Jingle Jangle was our fave at that time. We can't really pick a fave, but that was one of them, and we also love hot cocoa, and if you can notice, my daughter got it all down her shirt. I mean, when she was enjoying it, she was just going to town. I also said our elves, Melvin and Matilda, yep, we have 2 of them, are back, and they're getting into everything, as always. I also said that my daughter had a loose tooth, and Saturday we went Christmas tree hunting. There was not a lot of farms open, but we did find one, and so that was very exciting, and we loved running and looking through all the rows of trees. And we finished the week with a day to myself, and the kids got to hang out with Oma, which is a win for everyone. I get some me time, and they get to hang out with Oma. So I put a cluster of red die cuts at the bottom, as you saw, a tree, and then a heart that said family, and some leaves, and then like a little holly berry cluster. So this is where I had to open up the seams, or the sandwich basically that I made of the photos, just open it back up so that way I could slip it right on top of the white piece of paper. And then it all worked out, and then it was fine. I just had to use my adhesive remover to make sure I got all the adhesive that I did not need. So I'm just going to finagle this onto the white paper. That's a fun word, finagle, onto the white insert, and then I will get that remover so that way I can get all the adhesive off, because I went and put too much adhesive on. And then on the back, I'm just going to add a few more die cuts, but it did get stuck, so I just got the adhesive remover again. I just love that little tool. I mean, it's just so handy to have around. Mine looks really gross, and I probably need to clean it up, but I love it. It helps so much. I picked 2 of my favorite photos, because that's the other thing with completing Project Life 2020. For me, it's always more of a highlights reel kind of and a favorites photo, since I do so much documenting in a separate album, December Daily. So I just pick my favorites and just, do the stories that I want to do, and everything else is pretty much documented in December Daily. So I added the die cuts to the Christmas tree insert and also one onto the card, and that's it. That spread is all done, and now I have a second spread. This is week 50, and I went with some small square photos. I think I started out at 3 by 3 inches and decided to shrink it down like 20%. So whatever that wound up with, it made it so that I was able to fit 2 rows of 3 on each side. And I'll also have 2 flip ups. And this week had a lot more photos, but that's okay. I mean, I have a hard time picking my favorites, but I tried. And I also shrunk down the journaling cards that I wanted to use, because again, I'm going with a bullet point list, and I'm not trying to like write a novel like maybe I would for a normal Project Life spread. I'm just trying to get highlights of what happened in December. Because for me, I feel like if I didn't document December in the Project Life album, it would feel incomplete. I don't know. How do you feel? How do you do it if you do Project Life and December Daily? How do you figure that out? I'd love to know in the comment section. So one of my first flips was some photos of going to see lights. On top is my husband and daughter looking at the lights, and then the other one is the pirate ship kind of thing that we saw. And eventually I'll add a little die cut to that, so that way I can write just a little bit about what was going on. And I use my ruler for alignment, because lining everything up, it has to happen for me. I don't know why. That's just something I have to get right, at least to the best of my ability. I did notice that this photo with the kind of white border at the top, it made it hard for me to see that I needed to trim off a section at the top, so I had to kind of peel it up and then trim that section. And once I do that, I can go ahead and put it back down. And then right above that is some more black and white photos of the kids and I. I gave them some big old squeeze hugs. It was 8-second hugs for Colin Kirchner, who had passed away in 2020, so October of that year. And it just added to the whole crappy 2020 year. It really did. It was devastating for Liz Kirchner, who designs all kinds of stuff for the scrapbooking community, and it was just hard for everybody. Can't even believe it. So I added the pattern paper. It's like has a bunch of words on it. I added that to the flap, the flip up that I have for the squeeze hugs, and then I will add a little die cut to it as well, just so I can jot down a little note. And I'm just going to put that I got the kids in a squeeze hug. It was like a total surprise attack. That's why their faces look all smushed and I look all smushed. But that's okay. It doesn't really matter, right? It's the best type of photos, right? I'm not going for perfect photos. So now I'm going to add the next little row of photos, the cats and my daughter baking, and then another looking at Christmas lights photo. Now, one of the things that I love doing with storyline chapters is adding inserts, just because there's not a lot of room, and I need, I like adding more to my spreads than, I don't know, I just love adding inserts. So that's what I'm going to do. I decided to do a fun tree with all the different pattern papers that Traci Reed has. So I folded the vellum piece, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere it down, and it's going to lay over the right side of the spread, and then I will build my tree. I did a small cute little stump at the bottom, and then a little short piece, and then I just varied my strips all the the way up to the top. And hopefully my thinking is that if I can get enough room up at the top, I'll add some lights and a little tree topper. So I'm going to go ahead and add these strips, and then I can figure out the rest. But I loved mixing and matching all the different patterns because there's a million of them in Traci's collection, which is one of the reasons that I just love her kits. There's so many different patterns, so many different die cuts, so many different options. I even printed some of the die cuts on clear sticker paper so I can use them in my journal, which is another video you'll see maybe next Sunday for my journal, and I'm excited to do that. I pretty much did all DIY sticker kits for December, so I'm excited to once again use my supplies and make some journal spreads. Okay, I only have a few pieces left to add to the little tree, and then I'm going to add a little topper. I thought about doing a big green star, but then I wouldn't be able to fit the strand of lights, so I just went with a cute little red flower. Why not? You know, who's to say you can't put a red topper on top of your tree? Now I'm adding some foam pieces to the back of a die cut that says home, and I can put that right in the middle of my tree. I'll also pop dot the red flower, and then I need to adhere down the lights. And I'm not going to pop dot the lights, I just want them to lay flat. So I just get the adhesive all on there, and I kind of make sure that they're centered, so that way there's a little space on the left and the right. My last little piece to finish this up is the die cuts that I want to add. I want to do a little cluster over by the going to see the lights, so I add full of joy, a leaf, and then a plaid type of tree. And then up by my kids' photo, I put a Santa hat and a flower, and then gathered all around the tree. So just little clusters to kind of draw your eye over to that side of the layout and balance out all of the paper and die cuts on the right-hand side. I will add a small cluster to my cat's photo because I could not resist. That is like one of my all-time favorite photos of my cats, or I should say our cats. It's the family cats, but they were just so adorable sleeping under the tree. For once, they were not trying to attack the tree, so I had to get a photo of them. I also put Baked with Love die cut where my daughter is baking, and then up by where my cats are, I put Cozy Season and a flower, and then I will go ahead and just trim off the top. And I think my camera went out, so that's why you saw that little blip there. Okay, so I just write on this this little die cut that we went to see lights, and I absolutely love them. I have it all mapped out in my phone, different locations that we love to go to, especially this one because it's all decked out in different themes. That particular year it was Frozen, so there's even a ship, which is really cool. So I talked about getting our tree all festive, and my daughter having a friend over and making lemonade, and how my daughter is, of course, enjoying baking, which is something that we do every year as a tradition, and we are continuing to chug along with distance learning, and I am chugging along with movement and trying to make sure I incorporate that into our everyday, into my everyday. So that is it. Those are my 2 spreads. I hope you've enjoyed. I would love a thumbs up or a subscribe if you are new to my channel, and don't forget to check out the other videos in the YouTube hop. All right, have a great day. Bye.